Hey, listen to me for a second. I need you to really hear this. You've been chasing avoidance the wrong way this whole time, and it's probably costing you more than you realize. You think being sexy, funny, or endlessly available will make them want you. Forget that. I'm about to tell you the truth. A truth most men are too afraid to admit. Avoidants aren't turned on by lust the way most people are. You could be the hottest guy in the room, flexing muscles, flashing smiles, and they won't care. No. What really gets under their skin isn't what you do. It's how you exist. Here's the thing about avoidance. They are terrified of losing themselves in someone else. They crave freedom, control, and emotional distance, which makes them incredibly hard to reach. But here's where it gets interesting and controversial. It's not desire that hooks them, it's the subtle, psychological triggers that make them stop and wonder about you. It's the tension, the mystery, the confidence you radiate when you're not trying to impress. And let me warn you, if you try to chase them or overshare, you're doing the exact opposite of attracting them. You're pushing them away. This video is going to change the way you see avoidance forever. I'm going to break down the psychological turn-ons that hit them harder than lust. These are the strategies that bypass their walls without you having to beg, chase, or perform. You'll learn the power of mystery, silent confidence, emotional independence, subtle disinterest, and non-verbal dominance. The kind of things that make them obsess over you without even realizing why. And here's the real kicker. Most men fail because they misunderstand avoidance. They assume avoidants respond to passion like anyone else, but that's a rookie mistake. Avoidants don't respond to lust. They respond to intrigue, respect, and the sense that you are untouchable in the best way possible. Master these principles, and you're not just attractive, you're unforgettable. So, if you're ready to stop wasting your time on strategies that don't work, if you're ready to step into a mindset that naturally captivates avoidance, then stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to ignite curiosity, fascination, and even obsession, without ever lowering your standards or playing desperate. Because here's the truth. The moment you understand this, you'll realize lust isn't the strongest weapon in your arsenal. Psychology is. And once you wield it correctly, avoidance will chase you in ways you never thought possible. Let me ask you something. How often have you overshared with someone and watched them slowly lose interest? You think you're being charming, being real, being honest, but for an avoidant, it's like you handed them a map to your soul. And when that map exists, suddenly there's nothing left to explore. The excitement dies, and they drift. Avoidants don't get hooked on lust. They get hooked on the unknown, the untouchable, the uncharted. Here's the controversial truth most men refuse to hear. Mystery beats sex every single time. You could look like a model, have the funniest jokes, and carry confidence like a trophy. But if you reveal every detail of yourself, your patterns, your thoughts, and your feelings too soon, you're done. Avoidants are wired to respect distance and autonomy. They don't just want a partner. They want a puzzle they can't fully solve. And when you create that puzzle naturally, you hold power over their attention without ever chasing it. So, how do you use mystery effectively? Step 1. Don't overshare. Every avoidant has an internal radar for emotional flooding. If you bombard them with your life story, they'll pull back before you even notice. Instead, be selective. Share what's necessary, hint at what's exciting, but leave gaps. These gaps are the playgrounds where their mind starts to obsess. When they can't fully predict or understand you, your presence lingers in their thoughts longer than any compliment or flirtation ever could. Step 2. Live your life fully. Avoidants are drawn to people who are untouchable, not because they're cold, but because they have a world of their own. Be ambitious, chase goals, cultivate hobbies, and maintain routines. The more you thrive independently, the more magnetic you become. Avoidants don't want clingy, needy energy. They want to wonder if they can even fit into your life. And nothing hits harder than the silent statement, "I'm fine without you, but you're lucky if you're part of this." Step 3. Let tension build naturally. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's subtlety. It's in the pauses, the selective responses, the calm energy you carry. Avoidants respond to tension more than passion because tension forces them to engage on a deeper level. Every glance, every brief conversation, every unspoken gesture becomes amplified. They start analyzing, questioning, thinking. You're no longer just another person. You're the riddle they can't stop trying to solve. Now, let's get brutally honest. Most men fail at this. They confuse mystery with playing games. They act aloof without substance or purpose, and avoidants see right through it. Mystery works only when it's genuine. You don't act mysterious. You are mysterious because your life, your confidence, and your independence naturally create that intrigue. So here's the takeaway. If you want to hit an avoidant harder than lust ever could, stop chasing. Stop over-explaining. Stop trying to impress. Instead, be enigmatic, be self-possessed, and live a life that doesn't revolve around them. Let curiosity and tension do the seduction for you. Because in the mind of an avoidant, nothing is more intoxicating than someone they can't fully figure out, and when done right, your mystery will make them think about you long after the room is empty. Let me tell you something most men will never admit. Avoidants are terrified of emotional neediness. They don't crave passion or flirtation as much as they crave stability, and here's the controversial part. The men they obsess over are rarely the loudest or the flashiest. No, it's the ones who carry themselves with calm, unshakable confidence. The kind that doesn't beg for attention, approval, or validation. That's the kind of energy that hits them harder than lust ever could. Picture this. You're in the room, you're engaged, focused, living your life, and the avoidant is watching quietly. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not anxious about being liked. And suddenly, without even saying much, your energy speaks louder than words. Avoidants notice it. The calm, controlled demeanor, the way you don't crumble under pressure, the way you seem untouchable yet approachable. That's what creates fascination. That's what sparks obsession. Here's the truth most men don't realize. Avoidants are wired to respond to powerful yet subtle energy. They are allergic to desperation, clinginess, and constant reassurance. When you exude silent confidence, you're sending a signal they can't ignore. I'm grounded. I know my worth. I'm not dependent on your attention, but I'm not cold either. That paradox hits them in a way lust never will. Suddenly, they start thinking, why is he so calm? Why does he seem so in control? Can I even get close to someone like that? But let's get controversial here. Most men fail because they misunderstand confidence. They think confidence is about showing off, being dominant, or being the loudest guy in the room. That's rookie energy. Real, silent confidence is quiet, subtle, and consistent. It's in your posture, your voice, the way you react, or don't react, to drama. It's in the calm smile when chaos surrounds you. Avoidants are attracted to energy that makes them feel challenged without pressure, intrigued without fear. Here's the kicker. You don't have to be perfect to pull this off. You don't need endless money, looks, or status. What you need is presence. Your energy, your calm, your composure, those are the tools. Avoidants will read them instantly, even subconsciously. And once they sense that you're emotionally grounded, they will become more interested than they have in anyone who tried too hard to win them over. Now, here's the advice most men ignore. Don't confuse confidence with arrogance. Avoidants can spot fake energy from a mile away. Silent confidence is humble, self-assured, and authentic. It's not about dominating them. It's about showing them that you're untouchable in the healthiest way. You're not needy, you're not desperate, and you're not chasing. That makes them want to chase you. So, if you want to hit an avoidant harder than lust, start by mastering your energy. Be calm, be grounded, and let your presence speak for itself. Stop trying to impress or entertain. They'll notice, but only if your confidence is quiet, consistent, and real. Because here's the truth. For an avoidant, nothing is more magnetic than someone who doesn't need them, but somehow makes them feel like they might belong anyway. Here's something most men will never admit. Avoidants are not impressed by neediness. They don't get turned on by clingy texts, constant validation, or people bending over backward to be in their lives. In fact, all of that pushes them away. What hits them harder than anything? Emotional independence. The kind that shows you have your life, your boundaries, and your world, and it doesn't rely on them to function. Think about it. Avoidants are wired to protect their freedom and space. They are naturally wary of anyone who threatens that freedom, even subconsciously. When they see someone who isn't waiting around, someone who doesn't make their happiness dependent on a text or a call, it's like a switch flips inside them. Suddenly, they respect that person. They see strength. They see self-worth. And here's the truth. Respect is far more powerful than lust for avoidance. The controversial part? Most men do the exact opposite. They mistake attachment for attraction. They confuse being available 24/7 with being desired. But avoidants are drawn to people who are grounded in themselves, people who can handle their own emotions without leaning on anyone else. They are fascinated by the confidence that comes from not needing approval, validation, or attention. Emotional independence isn't coldness. It's not about pushing them away or pretending you don't care. It's about living your life fully, respecting yourself, and maintaining your boundaries. It's about showing that your energy is stable, that your happiness isn't in their hands, and that your sense of self isn't negotiable. Avoidants pick up on this instantly. They feel intrigued, even challenged, because someone who doesn't need them can still make them feel like they want to be part of that person's life. Here's the reality. If you rely on them for your emotional security, you're playing by their rules, and most avoidants will quietly walk away. But if you show independence, they start to chase you in ways they rarely chase anyone. Emotional independence is not about being distant. It's about being whole. It's about having a life so full that their presence is a choice, not a requirement. Let me be blunt. Men often underestimate this. They think passion and attention are what captivate avoidants. They're wrong. Avoidants are captivated by strength, by balance, by people who make them feel like they might have to step up if they want in. That's the kind of attraction lust can't touch. So, focus on building yourself first. Be self-reliant. Protect your energy. Live your life fully without waiting for anyone to validate it. Avoidants won't just notice. They'll respect, they'll think, and yes, they'll become drawn to someone they feel can't be owned or controlled. Emotional independence isn't just attractive. It's magnetic. And for avoidants, that magnetism is more powerful than anything else you could ever try to offer. Let's get real for a moment. Most men are doing it all wrong with avoidance. They chase too hard, over-text, over-call, and overanalyze every interaction. And what happens? Avoidants pull away. It's not because they're cruel. It's because your energy screams neediness, insecurity, and desperation. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you want to truly captivate an avoidant, sometimes the best move is to step back. This is where subtle disinterest comes in. I'm not talking about being rude or ignoring them completely. That's childish and will backfire. I'm talking about maintaining your calm, confident life while interacting with them in a way that shows they're not your emotional anchor. You don't have to chase, prove yourself, or bend over backward to be seen. Avoidants are wired to notice when someone doesn't need them, and that is far more intoxicating than constant pursuit. Here's the controversial part. Men have been conditioned to think that showing interest equals attraction. They think persistence wins hearts. For avoidants, it does the exact opposite. The more you chase, the more you push, the less they feel the pull toward you. It's paradoxical, but it's real. Your restraint, your subtle disinterest, creates tension. It creates a space where their mind starts working, analyzing, and yes, obsessing. Now, let me pause and offer some advice because most men need this wake-up call. Stop trying to fill their emotional gaps. Stop texting too much, over-explaining yourself, or acting like you need them to validate your worth. Wake up. Your energy is valuable. Your calm, confident presence is far more powerful than any effort to win them over. Avoidants are experts at detecting neediness, and once they sense it, it's game over before it even starts. Subtle disinterest is about balance. You show care, interest, and authenticity, but you never make them the center of your universe. You engage when appropriate, step back when necessary, and maintain your own world without guilt or hesitation. This creates a magnetic pull that no amount of charm or flirtation could ever achieve. Here's the hard truth most men refuse to face. If you're desperate, avoidants won't respect you. If you're always available, they won't value you. If you're overinvested, they won't chase. You have to understand that your absence, your calm, your emotional independence, they are not weaknesses. They are weapons. And when wielded correctly, subtle disinterest creates fascination that hits harder than lust ever could. So, take a step back, regain your energy, and stop chasing. Focus on yourself, live fully, and let them wonder about you. Stop acting like they are the only thing that matters. Wake up, because being too available is not attraction, it's a red flag for avoidance. The art of subtle disinterest is dangerous, powerful, and, if mastered, will make you unforgettable. Here's a truth that most men completely miss. Avoidants are more influenced by energy and presence than by anything you say. You could have the best lines, the funniest jokes, and the smoothest charm, but if your energy doesn't match, it's useless. Avoidants read every gesture, posture, and tone. Nonverbal dominance isn't about intimidation. It's about being grounded, self-assured, and magnetic without speaking a word. Let me be blunt. Most men think dominance is physical or verbal. They believe talking louder, taking control, or showing off will make them irresistible. That's a rookie mistake. True nonverbal dominance is subtle. It's in the way you carry yourself, the calm in your movements, the measured pace of your speech. Avoidants notice these cues instinctively. They pick up on confidence, patience, and composure before they even register what you're saying. Your presence alone can create fascination. When you walk into a room or join a conversation and maintain calm, collected energy, avoidants unconsciously start analyzing you. Why are they drawn to this person? What makes him untouchable? Why doesn't he chase or overreact? That silent question is where your power lies. Avoidants respond to this type of dominance far more than any act of lust or flirtation. Here's the controversial truth. Most men waste energy trying to impress with words while ignoring the power of their body language and energy. Avoidants are experts at spotting insecurity, nervousness, and overeagerness. If your nonverbal cues signal stability and self-control, they feel challenged, intrigued, and drawn in ways they can't fully explain. That's why a simple gesture, a calm smile, steady eye contact, or a relaxed posture can hit harder than anything you could ever say. But here's the catch. Nonverbal dominance is not about being cold, arrogant, or unapproachable. Avoidants respond to authenticity. They sense fakeness immediately. The key is to genuinely carry yourself with confidence and presence. Your energy should communicate. I'm comfortable in my skin, I'm grounded, and I know my worth. That quiet assurance is addictive for an avoidant. Finally, understand this. Words are fleeting, but energy lingers. Your gestures, presence, and tone create impressions that last long after the conversation ends. Avoidants don't just respond to what you say, they respond to the weight of your energy, the calm authority you bring, and the sense that you're someone who can't be owned or controlled. Nonverbal dominance isn't manipulation, it's authenticity amplified, and when mastered, it hits harder than lust ever could. So, master your energy, refine your presence, and let your nonverbal dominance speak for you. Avoidants won't just notice, they'll be drawn, fascinated, and subtly compelled to engage with someone who exudes confidence without trying. That's the ultimate psychological turn-on. Here's the truth most men refuse to face. Avoidants are never truly won over by lust, charm, or flashy gestures. They are captivated by the subtle power of mystery, emotional independence, silent confidence, restraint, and presence. And here's the controversial part. Most men fail not because they aren't attractive, but because they are too available, too eager, and too predictable. If you want an avoidant to notice, respect, and even obsess, you have to do the exact opposite of what society teaches. Stop chasing, stop proving yourself, and stop lowering your energy to get their attention. Now, I want you to do something. Comment below with your experiences. Whether you felt this pull, been ignored, or struggled with someone who seemed impossible to reach. I read every comment, and I will reach out to connect with those who are serious about mastering these psychological dynamics. This isn't just theory. It's about building presence, power, and influence in ways that resonate deeply with avoidants. Remember, the moment you stop trying to win them over and start mastering your own energy, that's when you truly become unforgettable. Forget lust. Psychology is the weapon, and subtle mastery is the key. Are you ready to step into that power? Share your story below, and let's start this journey together.